Hello, thank you for coming to TwoTales. This is Anthium, and of course, I'm the obvious host of the day. This is a special little video and a shout out. A shout out first to Turbo Joe, who issued the speedrun challenge, and man, is that a doozy. Not only that, but to Hire Further Faster, who asked for some commentary and some tips to help him get through the level. Now, let me just say that I spent the last 3 days working on this challenge. Every break at work, I would play this back to back and was not having any success with it. And ultimately, last night, camped out in my stairwell with everyone sleeping and the volume really muted because you can't hear the sound on this playthrough. I finally managed to successfully do it, which, so if you notice, my high score shows 32,100 versus my actual high score of 35,550. And the reason for that is I actually gave myself every advantage I could. I switched over to my tablet, which is a much larger screen. It doesn't have the cracks and chips that my cell phone does. And it still took me about 4 runs before I actually made a successful speed run. So, you know, Turbo Joe, very high bar that you set. It feels good to actually successfully manage to match your speedrun time. Now, so we're going to get into this, and because there's no real music to it, which has something to do with the audio on my tablet, I'm not sure why it came out the way it did, because you can hear the blasters, you just can't hear the music. I'm going to give some commentary, and this is for anyone out there that feels like they need a few tips and are struggling to get through the thing. Now, I've said before, you know, being decisive is important. You need to commit to moving faster, slowing down, or being medium, and not bounce between the two of them, because that'll get you into trouble when you start getting pressured from the UFOs. Now, let's talk priorities here. The UFOs are a danger. You'll see a lot of missed shots, but the UFOs can also blast you head on, and there's a few specific times when they're a danger. Your first concern is actually learning how to jump well, because you can clear almost every single rock on a jump. The uphill slopes are much more difficult to do that on, but the rocks, the landmines, and the pits are absolutely a far bigger threat than the UFOs, in my personal opinion. Now, UFOs, typically, they're more dangerous when they move to the rear of your buggy. If they're in front of you, you can wait for that shot, watch their laser, you can pick up when they're going to shoot, and then you can slow down or even jump and change the way that you move. Once they move around behind your buggy, their shots may still be off, but you'll see later that they actually will they will literally crash into the buggy. They will come after you headlong. And at the same time, there is a specific positioning, you won't see it in this video, that they can get into, where they're just behind your blaster if you're running at full speed, but they have a lock on, and they will absolutely just belch you dead on, and there's very little you can do about it without slowing down. So, you know, if you're just trying to clear the level, don't worry about your clock, right? That's added pressure. And as long as you are playing smart and safe, your score will take care of itself. Definitely don't worry about those other pressures. That's for, you know, later challenges. Now, in this particular case, you also need to pay attention to your buggy, and you need to exercise what I'm going to call fire control. If you notice on this my speed run, I don't go after every UFO. I had to give up my desire to blow up the rocks and so forth, and you'll find that if you're really watching, there's certain parts where I have very precise fire control, and the reason for that is if you haven't noticed, your main gun on the front of the moon buggy and your top gun, they fire at different speeds. Not only that, you can spam the top gun, but your main gun actually has a cooldown period, and if you get yourself into a very tight quarters pinch, you're going to be at a point where you're not going to be able to take care of that boulder blocking your way. So, you know, these are all small things that play into your overall success for it. On top of that, I'm a big proponent of acknowledging how powerful the jump mechanic actually is. The truth of the matter is there are two slopes of spiked pits that you can literally just drive off without crashing. If you can identify them, and a lot of this does come from experience and playing it over and over again. If you can identify them, it's a little bit of a less of worry because you can just run right off those cliffs. But the jump actually is deceptively higher and further than you might think. There's a specific jump that has 2 landmines, a tall spiked rock, and then 1 landmine. The moon buggy can clear that entire thing without destroying that rock. So if you're just trying to complete it, pay attention to the UFOs less than your actual driving course, and spend more time working on your jump than on your timing with the guns. There you go, right there. Now all 3 of these guys will try to kamikaze if you don't. There you go. There goes another one. So if you're going slow, they will crash into you. But you know, the jump is actually really where it's at in this. Generally speaking, that's the short of it. Now there's a couple of really tight areas here. Better to destroy that rock, even though you can clear the whole thing. It's slightly uphill. But there's a couple points coming up here. Sector T has always been hard here. This rock and that rock. It is best to try to destroy them on your way down of the jump arc, because once you hit the ground, you have a little bit of a bounce. It could potentially throw off your aim. So destroying them while you're still airborne coming down from the landing, I found to be instrumental in me getting through Sector T. But really, the real tough sections are the later part of the game. There's more ridges, there's more rocks, more landmines, so you see you can clear that big one there. You can jump all that. Basically, you have, if you look at it as the landmine is a unit of measure, you can clear 4 landmines out easy on a flat surface with your moon buggy. As far as height-wise, the moon buggy can clear rocks twice its height from what I can tell, or at least similar height to the moon buggy. So don't be afraid to jump and learn how to use the jump really well. Now, I'm running out of commentary here, so I'm going to let this run out for the last little bit. Thanks again for Turbo Joe and his challenge. Speedrun is met. Now I'm coming for your high score, buddy.